Hey guys, gals, welcome back to Coffee and Kalashnikovs, round two for October 11th. Had a few technical difficulties there. Oh, that's nice. YouTube is telling me I'm live on my channel. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. Looks like we're a little delayed though, or something. I don't know. How's it looking there, Squeak? Is it coming across okay, sound and all? Everything looking all right? Let me know. We're going to wait for a few other people to join in. We had, I don't know, looked like almost 20 people there. So I'm going to wait for a few to jump back in here. Looking good, sounding good. Okay. Once in a while, everything started up fine, but I had my daughter and son-in-law over for the first time since the wedding and they brought their new puppy, and I'm setting up while I'm talking to them, and everything was fine. You guys got the announcement when I came back on. I came down here and it wasn't showing. You see like a blurred screen before I go live so I can tell the camera's working. It wasn't doing it. Sometimes, who knows, computers do weird stuff, and I just had to restart the computer and the mic and camera popped up and all was good. But I'm sorry for that. That really F's everything up when you're trying to get going. You got a whole bunch of people in there, and then chances of them coming back, other than, of course, all you got good guy regulars and good gal regulars. It takes a while. But I'm getting notifications. People are still commenting on the old live stream. Go take it down real quick. But people are coming over here anyhow. So I don't know if you guys noticed the thumbnail, but the two rifles in that thumbnail, in my opinion, are two of, well, let me think for a second before I answer this. In my opinion, there may be a rare exception I'm not thinking of right now, but those are the two most beautiful firearms I have in my collection. They may not be, rare or, interesting, but they are just the most beautiful works of art I have in my collection. And it's not because they're all made in the USA. It's just craftsmanship is old world like. From the brass on the receivers and the absolute perfect polish. When you buy, for those of you that didn't look at the picture, I've got two Henry lever actions on there. And one of them is a Henry Golden Boy 22. And the other one is a Henry Big Boy in 45 Long Colt, or 45 Colt is the proper way to say it. A lot of people say Long Colt, but proper way is 45 Colt. If you're talking to people that collect firearms of that age, that genre, the guys that really know will know if you say 45 Colt instead of 45 Long Colt. Even they will use the term occasionally, but 45 Colt is the proper way. Back in the day, they didn't refer to it so much as that. But anyhow, yeah, the brass, when you get a Henry, there's not a mark. If there is, it happened at the dealer or something like that. But they are absolute perfection. The polish is incredible. Every nut and bolt on them, down to the last washer, is made in the USA. American walnut. Some can be a bit plainer, others can be a bit fancy, but even their standard grade is just gorgeous. Those are both standard grade. One has a little more swirling than the other, and that's on the 22. And the reason it is, I got to pick that particular gun out of about 20 of them. All 20 were in the box. The bag's opened up in the box, and the box is laying open on the counter. If you remember last week, I told you about the hole in the wall gun shop I used to go to. You'd walk in, they always had something interesting, or Saturday they'd have a sale. Well, I knew about this Golden Boy sale coming up, and they were cheaper than you could get them anywhere. I think maybe 400, 450, 499 at the time. And I was the first one there. There were 20, 25 of them laid out. I got my pick of all of them. I went through each one. I picked the 5 best wood. I pulled those aside, and then I checked it for a mark, a fault, anything, anywhere, wood fitment, any flaws in the bluing. The gun is absolute perfection. And tell you the truth, they all were pretty much. It was just that was the prettiest. But so the polish on the brass, the walnut, it's gorgeous. All the fittings, the brass butt plate, all of that, the bluing, the octagon barrel, the weight of it. If any of you have never picked up a Yellow Boy 22 and worked the action, just it's like a fine Swiss watch. I'm not kidding you. There's no clanks, clunks. It's and buttery smooth from the day you get it. It's unbelievable. The 45s, the big boys, are close, but of course, there's heavier chunks of metal in there moving around, so you get a bit more noise and whatever, but still just a fine, fine firearm. Um, just you can't say enough about them, and they shoot just as good. Accurate as all get out. Just fabulous rifles. So I went to the range the other day. Actually, I didn't go to the range. I went to do some work at a friend's place, and figured we'd do a little shooting there. Didn't get around to it because deer season's coming up. That's another thing I want to talk about here. And I brought those 2 guns and my Winchester 94 30-30, and I was just gonna do some sighting in. And I wanted to blow through some of that 30-30 ammo that I found. I talked about a couple live streams ago. Finally found 30-30, right? So I was going to shoot at least a box of it and then reload it to my specs with FTX Leverution or Leverution, whatever. Those bullets and my own loads, and I'd still have time to test it out for hunting season. So didn't get to it, but we will tomorrow or Sunday. So we're going to do some sighting in with it. Good news, I got the Mosins to the range Friday, and we got delayed going there. Went with a friend, and who's been in another video. He was in that Bring a Friend to the Range video. He had that Black Aces tactical shotgun that had the faulty safety, and the gun went off. If you guys haven't seen that video, it's kind of interesting. If you own a Black Aces tactical, you definitely want to watch that video. I'm surprised there was never any backlash from that video. Black Aces tactical never contacted me. Not really any comments on it. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, a factory gun right out of the box and the safety doesn't work. And I was explaining how to use the gun and showed him the safety, had it pointed down range and squeezed the trigger to show him that it's unsafe. And I squeezed it once, it was fine. Squeezed it the second time, and I felt it like hump over or click over something, and boom. And you've never seen a person turn that white like a ghost in your life. He was standing to the right of me and in line with me, and the gun was pointed down range, but you're not expecting that. Is certainly not a new shooter. And yeah, that made for a heck of a day. It made me think back to all the times I bought a new gun, brought it home, and sitting on the couch, and you're checking it out, and you load it up, and you put one in the chamber and whatever, and you put the safety on, and that's that. Imagine somebody, a new person, loading that gun up, in their garage or whatever. They're not thinking, they're thinking it's unsafe. Safe is safe, right? Nope. that will that will teach you never to mess around with a new gun until everything is fully vetted and tested. Of the ridiculous amount of firearms that have passed through my hands over the years, that's the first time that's ever happened to me, and it was a bit scary. But anyways, uh, he came out to see me on business, and we were supposed to get out a little early, and we didn't. So by the time we got to the range, we had a half hour to shoot. But I thought, God, is there a better time to shoot a Mosin carbine than right at dusk? I think not. That's the perfect time, right? And so I loaded that sucker up and shooting at some steel, and I could barely make out the sights. I would bring the sights up into the light, kind of line them up, and then bring it down onto the steel. And I think I hit 4 out of 5 on the one, 3 out of 5 on the other with those poor lighting conditions. But it wasn't so much testing that as I was wanting to see the fireballs. It was pretty darn dark. Now, my camera, if you guys have watched my channel long enough, you know when I'm filming videos in the evening, I'll often say, I don't know how this is going to look on camera. It's dark as hell here. I can barely see my hand in front of my face, but the camera's making it look like it's daylight almost. But this time, yeah, it really looks dark. The camera didn't make it that much lighter. So you'll see some really good fireballs. But there just wasn't enough material there to bring you a full video. So we got to get back and shoot them some more. Initially, and I've shot the guns before, but it's been years. They've been in the back of the safe, so who knows? They get knocked around, different ammo, whatever. But they were at least hitting a torso-sized steel and pounding it pretty darn good with that Czech silver tip. Interestingly enough, for some reason, I just remember those guns having a whole lot more oomph to them. I was surprised. The recoil was very manageable, and the Czech silver tip tends to be that way. I found Bear and some other ones just seem, for whatever reason, to have more recoil to them. But it was firm but nice. Just a lot of fun. It felt good to shoot them. What was really hilarious is I load 5 in and I shoot the first one, and I got the gun up and I shoot the first one, and I'm going to put the second round in. Or shoot the second round. What do? I let the trigger out and I squeeze again. And I'm like, oh yeah, bolt action. I've been shooting so many. It's been so long since I shot a bolt action that I swear I was, trying for that second round. It was hilarious. And I said so on the video. You guys will see it. It's funny. But God, it felt good to shoot them. They were solid. They hit the mark. Yeah, it was great. They cycled. Little stiff on a couple, pulling them out, but no hammering needed or fist pounding needed. And I had not cleaned them before I went. So it wasn't bad at all. It was a lot of fun. Put some rounds through the Glock, and I've been really trying to put some rounds through this Kimber Micro 9 that is running better. And I think I've got that thing dialed in finally. I've had this video done for the longest time where I'm just going to rip on Kimber, right? And I have not published it because I didn't think it fair that I do that until I give them a chance to fix it. But I really wanted to get this gun dialed in myself. I didn't want to send it back. And it seems to be, I finally got this thing dialed, I think. So we'll see. I might avoid a mail-in warranty deal. So we'll see. But yeah, did a little shooting. And frankly, it's took more time to set up the targets than we shot. But at least we got out there and did that. So you'll see some stuff coming. Let's check the chat here and see who's here. Squeaky made it in first. Now, I don't know. Is that legit, guys? What do you think? I don't know. That I didn't see who was first in the other one. I've got a major problem. Koffee and Kalashnikovs has turned into peach Red Bull and Kalashnikovs. And I drink a ridiculous amount of this stuff, like minimum 3 cans a day, and maybe as many as 5 or 6 some days. And yeah, I know it's no good for me, but it's amazing. And the problem is it says peach edition. I don't know if this was like a temporary thing. It's been around all spring, summer, fall. Now I'm having a hard time finding it. And you guys have no idea how terrible this is going to be if I can't get that stuff. It's like a damn drug, but love it. Joe was first in first stream, by the way, Rock. Chase that he said, I didn't see that you had put that. I was just wondering. But yeah, I'm sure Joe was. AK Old School, good to see you here. Martin Co, #1, yeah. We're all good to go. I was asking about the mic and all. Sorry, guys. That was a pain in the butt. I had to shut the computer down, restart it. It was fine. I stepped away because my daughter and son-in-law visited for the first time since the wedding with their new puppy. And I don't know, the bugs got in there and screwed it up, I guess. But anyhow, I apologize. Joe, my dad and I had fun every day, and he enjoyed firearms. He's the one who's helped me help tens of thousands learn firearms and freedom, so that's what my YouTube life will be in my videos. Cool. Joe, the way you said that sounds like your dad's not with us anymore. Did something happen? I hope not. I hope that was just you phrasing it a certain way. If I missed something in the previous stream while I was trying to get going, let me know. I'm hoping that's not the case. Yeah, those are Henry Squeaky. Yeah, love my Henry Big Boy carbine and you got one in 45 Colt. Cool. Anybody got a Henry in something else? 30-30, 45-70. That's a cool gun, right? That'd be cool. Wouldn't it be cool to have one in 30 US 30 carbine caliber? That would be kind of cool. The videos or whatever my phone was, whatever ideas pop in my head. My dad was disgusted with what this world became, so I feel it right to speak up. It's funny you say that, Joe. Disgusted with what this world's become, and I guess that's a good way to put it. I assume a lot of you guys are younger than me, and even if you grew up, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, right? Early 80s, I'll say. I grew up in a time when rock and roll and heavy metal hair bands ruled the world. And if you were cool, you drove a Trans Am or a Z28. And the music was loud and the clothes were louder. And you had big hair and a lot of hairspray, and the world was a good place. America was America. It was apple pie and Chevrolet and David Lee Roth and it was just a great time to grow up. You didn't realize it, I guess, at the time, because at that age, you're not that political, but you had Reagan. And, a lot of younger generation want to blame boomers and this. And I guess technically I'm of boomer age, but barely. And I don't consider myself that, I consider myself somewhere in between. But it was a great time to grow up, You had shooting clubs at school and hunting clubs at school. And if you're going hunting after school with your buddies, you could bring your shotgun to school and nobody looked twice. And, gun control was not a thing. I mean, it was, but we had cool stuff, and there wasn't all this just absolute asinine talk, that makes no sense. And I know what it is. There's everyone says, how do these people believe these things? Well, they don't. It's just well, the what do they call them? Necessary idiots or whatever. They believe it, but it's the agenda pushing that stuff, and it's to create this chaos, to create this opposite world, this different. Parallel universe, right? That's to turn everybody on everybody, and all of a sudden, the knight in shining armor shows up writing checks. You know, that's what it's about. And I don't think, it may seem sometimes like Joe, your dad was disgusted with what he sees. I think any of us that are probably in this stream and are into our hobbies are disgusted at what we see. There's times when all the gun control going on, like I mentioned the last few weeks, everything on YouTube, you go to watch, I just want to watch a good old shooting video, a review or something. Show me a Mosin Nagant, show me an AK, show me this, show me that. You can't find it. There's nothing new because it's all about this gun control law, this gun control law, these people coming down on us, LGBTQ, PSRD, um, the 1% getting 99% of the attention. If you're part of a club group or whatever that's 1% of the country, then you should get 1% of the attention. You know what I mean? They should not get 99% of it. Nobody's slighting you. Nobody's saying not do it. It's let me be me and you be you, and we're all good with it. That's what it's about, being an American, right? Live and let live sort of thing. And I'm sure that's how we all feel here, but they don't. They want to tell you what's safe, what's not. They know better than you do. They're smarter than you are, just so you know, that kind of thing. And I promise I'll be done in 2 seconds and we're back on guns. But I'm not even talking politically. I'm just saying it was a great time to grow up. It was lever actions and shotguns, and yeah, there were ARs, but that was a different crowd. Those were the fringe people. If you had an AK back then, or even an AR-15 or an FN, you were, it wasn't everywhere like it is today. You didn't walk in every gun shop and those were all over the wall. No, there were hunting shotguns and Remington 700s and a lot of wood and blue, bluing and wood. And that's why I put those Henrys on there today. And what sparked it all was shooting that Mosin Nagant again. I see my buddy Jake's in here. Guys, Jake is one of my best friends in the world and one of the greatest guys I know. Most reliable, true friend you could ever find. He's the guy that you call at 2 a.m. He picks up the phone, groggy, says, "What's up?" And you say, "I need this, this, and this." And he says, "Be right there." No questions asked what it is. He'll just be there. And I'm sure that's how most of you guys are too, if a good friend calls. But these guns, they're just, when's the last time you walked in a gun shop or saw a review on a new rifle or a shotgun, and it was beautiful walnut and well polished metal with bluing and maybe some brass and all the classic stuff, right? They hardly to norm. Every gun was blued and wood, right? Finely, the field grades were way better than what they're not cheap laminate to garbage stock that look like walnut. Today, to make those guns now, it would be a fortune, but it was commonplace, right? Nobody thought that was all that much work or hard to do. It's just what they did. Hot bluing, dip it, polish it, dip it, do the wood, fine finishing, fit the wood, and put the gun in the box, and there was your shotgun for $300, right? Today, I don't even know what it would cost. When you do see a blued gun, it's probably not bluing. It's maybe a Cerakoting that looks like bluing. It can be a vapor finish, similar to what CZ is doing on some of their shotguns, stuff like that. It can be European walnut, which, okay, nice stuff, but not as nice as the American stuff. God, you had Grand M1 military Grand stocks that are were finished finer than 99% of the stuff today. So it's refreshing to see guns like that, like Henry. And Henry's producing them for not a whole lot of money. Granted, they're not $300, but they're under 1,000. Even with what's going on now, the craziness, right? Um, I would tell you guys, even if you don't think they appeal to you, have a gun in your collection that's just classic like that. Whether it's new or used, be hard, like I said, hard to find a new one like that. And this may be boring some guys that came here because it's Koffee and Kalashnikovs and AKs and all that. But I'm telling you right now, you put that uh, Henry 22 in your hand and you start plinking away, you will have one of the most fun range days you've had in a long, long time, just because of how well they function and how beautiful they are to hold and to polish and all that good stuff. So I thought I'd show those, and I'm going to bring you a Henry day, a Henry video. Jake has a yellow boy and loves it. I know that. We'll talk about him real quick. I mean, Henry has the name, but they're not true copies of a Henry. They're their own versions of lever actions. And a lot of stuff is kind of true to the day. The 22, the brass receiver, it's called something like brass light. It's an alloy. And the covers on the receiver are just that, they're covers, which is kind of nice because if a younger person's using it, or even you're bound to get a scratch. And if you scratch up the sides, you can buy that new top cover or side covers for not a lot of money. The receiver itself is an alloy, just as strong. It's not junk. You got an octagon steel barrel. It's built to last. It'll last generations, tapped and everything for that. And they run great. They hold 16 rounds. You can get speed loaders for them. They make a large loop lever. If you watch some of the old Westerns, whether it was spaghetti Westerns or John Wayne movies with the big, large lever, I think maybe it's $50 for the lever, and you can, with a couple screws, replace it, put a leather wrap on there, and that's what we're going to do with both of these. I'm going to get some leather wraps, and I'm going to do some intricate stitching with it. And I might even do something with the stock on the 45 as far as a leather ammunition holder or something. I haven't decided yet. I wouldn't mind a sling on that 45. Been thinking about that. They make brass followers for it instead of the plastic. There's a whole bunch of cool little things to make them just that much nicer. Like I said, if you've never held one, never worked the action, go to a shop that has some and ask to see it. I will be willing to bet that it'll jump higher or to the top of your list as to rifles you want to get because they're that nice. The 45, God, I load some rounds for that last year for deer hunting, as hot as I could load them. And I had laddered some loads for it too. And I actually shot him at Jake's house the first time when I did some ladder loads. Remember, Jake, on that? And the faster the load, the higher I went, the more accurate that thing got. And I mean, I put some thumpers through that thing. And the recoil is magnificent because that barrel's so heavy, and just there's so much fun to shoot. And the 94 and 30-30, hey, pick your caliber, pick your gun. How about these tactical lever guns now? Henry's making all black with synthetic. Now I know we're getting away from the wood and the bluing or the brass, but man, are they cool. I've seen guys do Kydex cheek risers on them and red dots, or low power variable optics, like a 1x6 on it or something. And I always will say when we're talking about a live stream or talking about lever actions, I'll always show the lever action and say the world's original assault rifle. Think about it. You went right from, well, we went from essentially cannons to handheld cannons to flintlocks that changed the world to cap and ball to metallic cartridges and breech loaders. And then we jumped to, from once we had metallic cartridges, we jumped to lever actions. So you went essentially from single shots to a gun that'll hold, 10 to whatever, 16 rounds. Do you know how huge that was? That was crazy huge. So Civil War, a lot of soldiers on both sides bought their own weapons. What they were issued were cap and ball rifles, right? Some of them smoothbore. So they were very inaccurate. They were still using tactics that involved, lining up against each other and just throwing a volley down line and hoping you hit someone in that line, right? Because they weren't very accurate. Other than our sharpshooters, that the old Kentucky long rifle where they got in trees and whatnot, and they were sniping from 200 yards plus. And in those days, that's a long shot. These guys were good. They knew their rifle. They had it dialed in. They had shot that rifle forever. They knew every trick of loading it just the right way. They made sure that little, what do they call it, a spew or a spur where they cut the ball off, was pointed in the right direction, that the wad was centered, what material they were using for the wad, how well they tamped it. Every shot was perfect. They knew their rifle inside and out. They knew what a 5-mile-an-hour breeze did to it. They knew what temperature did to it, everything, down to the powder and everything. And that's when shooting was an art and a true sport with knowledge, because they had to know it. You couldn't buy accuracy out of a box. And people say, well, you can't buy accuracy. Well, hell yeah, you can. Ask my buddy Jake here about our 308s. You can buy accuracy for under $1,000. You can buy a lights out tack driver. And we got matching ones. And yeah, it's fun. It's fun. But if you're smart enough to turn a driver, hopefully a torque wrench driver, and mount a scope and a couple other things, yeah, you can hit quarters at 300-400 yards like nothing. So is it fun? Sure. Is it the art it once was? That's debatable. At the top end it is, sure. I'm not taking away anything from today's military snipers or long distance shooters. There's still an art once you really get out there. But these guys knew their stuff. But what a difference from single shot stuff where you had to reload to a gun you could rip off 10 rounds in 10 seconds, the original assault rifle. And they still are super weapons. I mean, I think if you couldn't get your hands on a modern sporting rifle, meaning an AR or something, AR, AK, Tavor, whatever you want to have that has, let's say, a 30-round mag or 20-round mag, my next choice would be a lever action. You can throw a whole lot of lead with a company of guys that know how to shoot them, right? That was a game changer. It changed everything. So these guys in the Civil War, they could buy their own weapons, and a lot of them would field a lever action. Our army, the Indians got their hands on them. Or should I say Native American? I don't know anymore. Again, it's not the world I grew up in. And by the way, there was nothing wrong with that world. Nothing was ever meant to harm anyone or make anyone feel bad. Nobody did. Nobody took offense to it. Today, they'll tell you that people took offense to it, but they didn't. They didn't. Things were what they were. Sure, there was racism just like today and all the other bad things, but it was not nearly as prevalent as they make it out to be. And frankly, I think it's worse today. Um, everybody got along, for the most part. Uh, but yeah, i- it's a great rifle, guys. A great rifle. You can, you can still find plenty of Winchester 94s out there. They're everywhere. Most popular deer rifle in the country by far, Winchester or Marlin lever action. And chambered in 30-30 is probably, I know it is. I've seen statistics on it. Most popular deer rifle to this day. That's what it is. There's plenty of them out there. Marlin, beautiful rifle. Pick your poison. Grab one, take it out, have fun. They're so much fun to shoot. Accurate. If you're hunting, let's say, well, they can go further, but 150 yards in, man, there ain't nothing better. My dad hunted with a 44 mag lever action for years. Talk about a brush buster. When you're hunting up north here, I don't get a shot over 40 yards probably. Furthest shot I'll make 40 yards. I can't go any further. Too many trees, too much forest. Um, 40 yards. So 45. Last year I hunted with the 45 Colt. This year maybe the 30-30. I don't know. I'll make that decision. Maybe one day I'll hunt with 45, next day with the 30-30. But yeah, get to a shop, check it out. Instead of grabbing the latest and greatest, look at something on the wall that's got blued steel, maybe a little brass, and some walnut on it. And say, let me see that. And talk about collectible. We were talking last week about how hard it might be today to put together a nice collection because prices have gone nuts, right? But there's still deals out there, I told you, and there's still things that'll be collectible. Lever actions, older ones have been collectible for a long time, and they're not bad. I think the magic year cutoff for lever actions, Winchester 94s, was like 63. I think the collectors always say 63 and prior. I don't know if they changed or the company changed, but supposedly those are better rifles. Well, mine is I got to think when I got it. Oh, geez. 4 years ago. 82, maybe. 81, somewhere in there. That rifle is nice bluing, not super polished bluing, nice bluing, nice walnut, accurate, built beautifully and solid. And I paid $99 for that gun at Kmart on my birthday. Great gun. And nothing wrong with it. But you want to collect lever actions? There's a lot of stuff out there. Winchester made tons of commemoratives, and I know they'll tell you never buy a commemorative as a collectible. Yeah, that's true for the most part because most will commemorate something that is important to maybe one group and not another and that type of thing. But there's some out there that kind of cover the masses. Hey, can't knock a John Wayne commemorative, right? Can't knock that. The Duke, man. So my dad's got the whole set. He's got the John Wayne lever action rifle. He has the saddle scabbard for it, all from that collection. The ammo, lots of ammo in the John Wayne ammo. He has the collector display cases that came from Winchester. The display box for the Colt pistol, the entire holster rig and everything, all of it. Everything they made in that collection he has, except the pistol. He sold the pistol for some retarded reason. Oops, can't use that word anymore either, but I do. Here we can use those words. Because again, it's meant no harm. Yeah, we don't have the pistol. So I keep knocking around every time I see one at an auction of getting it to complete the set again. But everything else is out there. Now, to a collector, any collector, I don't care who. If you're collecting lever actions, you collect whatever. If it's got John Wayne on it, you want it. There's not many people that are into guns that
don't know of, or at least appreciate in some way, shape, or form, John Wayne. So that would be a collectible. Those, they bring a good chunk of change, but less than you would think. And a lot of these lever actions aren't all that much money either. They're cool. There's every caliber under the sun. There's trappers, short barrels. You talk about a cool short barrel. Get yourself a trapper, Winchester 94 trapper model, shorter barrel and everything. Man, you talk about handy. I've got one. Happens to be a commemorative, but it's cool, and it's shorty short. It's really really cool, with the saddle ring and everything. Uh, one day maybe those blacked out, tacked out Henrys will be worth something. I'm sure the Henrys will. There's nobody in the U.S. Building rifles of that quality right now for the masses. There may be, Turnbull. Anybody ever seen a Doug Turnbull Winchester? So he takes original, like 1894 Winchesters, and earlier, all the different models. I think 61s. I forget the popular ones, but uh, you find one that's in decent shape, maybe a little rough here and there. He tears the whole gun down, redoes everything, and makes it look like the day it rolled out of the factory, right down to the charcoal case hardening and bluing. Like the bluing is almost cobalt. It's so beautiful. And the case hardening is real case hardening, not chemically done. It won't rub off. You talk about beautiful. You've never seen anything till you've seen that. There's also a rifle made in Japan, uh, bearing the Winchester name. So it's either authorized by or commissioned by Winchester. It's a Winchester, but it's made by, I think the company is Marui, and they may make airsoft. I may be wrong on the name, but I believe it was Marui. And they're making some gorgeous case hardened remakes of the older Winchester lever actions, and they're gorgeous. I bid on one in an auction. I had it until the last second. As gorgeous as that rifle is, I'd say, in my mind, those guns are worth $1,500 all day long. But if you look around, you'll find one. You could probably get one in the 700 range if you try hard. They're just amazing, amazing. And I'll tell you what, it becomes collectible. Sometimes junk becomes collectible, right? Because it finds a niche. It's interesting. It's cool. Maybe a movie makes it cool, right? Like the Interdynamics KG9. Absolute hunk of junk. Built to last all of 10 minutes, maybe. All kinds of junk parts in it and everything else, but yet iconically famous, and they bring ridiculous money now. If they were to build them today, you could probably buy them for $250. That's how cheaply made they are. But anytime there's quality involved and craftsmanship and beautiful work, it's collectible. Very rarely will you find a gun that exudes that workmanship and all, that it's not going to be collectible in some way, shape, or form. And for you guys that missed it last week, we were talking about younger guys, gals saying that, man, the good old days are over. There's nothing left out there to collect that I can start with the small money I make, or whatever, the small amount I have left over to put toward a collection. Because a lot of people say, well, boy, I wish I was 10, 15 years ago and I could start my AK collection for $299 or $350 or $400. And yeah, that's true. That's true. Today, to start an AK collection, a Wasser or a Yugo ZPAP, for rough round numbers, $1,000 a rifle. That's 3 times what they were 10 years ago, to start a collection. And then get into your arsenals now. Vepers, Vepers are bringing 5 and 6 grand for a Vepper. How about that one, Jake? 6 grand for a Vepper, dude. We used to go shoot them in the rain, right? Wow. No, I don't think I'll take them out of the safe. A Vepper's worth more than my Bakelite side folder. Can you imagine that? Whew. Wow. I get it, but it's the day, like we said last week, now is the time of the AR. ARs are cheap. Buy the right ones. Even the great ones are cheap. Um, get some nice rifles. What's going to be collectible are built rifles, not rifles you put together. Some of those maybe, but for the most part, it'll be your Colts, your Daniel Defense, yeah, other major manufacturers that um, you're buying the whole rifle put together. Hell, one day maybe a Smith and Wesson uh, AR Sport, the Sport Smith and Wesson will be worth something. Who knows? Who would have thought a junk Chinese AK would be worth anything today? Nobody thought so in the day. You never know. Buy what's unique. Buy something that there's not a lot of. Buy something that's quirky. Buy a variant that nobody wanted at the time because there's less of them. There'll be less around. That's what's worth the money. The Bakelite side folder at the time was not a cool rifle. Nobody thought it was cool. They all wanted the regular wood. And the side folder didn't sell well. That's why they didn't bring that many in. And now look at it. It's the most desirable, right? Underfolders were never that popular. Now look at what Chinese double folders, spike and underfolder AKs are doing. Crazy money. Buy that kind of stuff. You have to have an eye and look for the unusual or the different or the rare or low numbers, stuff you don't see a lot. Look at trends, watch what people think are cool, but kind of you'll be able to spot it. And flavor of the week changes too. Back then ARs were the expensive thing, AKs were the cheap thing, and look at it now. Everybody wants what they can't have. If things are going to stop coming in, and if they come from a certain country and there's problems on the news, go buy some imports from that country because they'll go away and all of a sudden the price goes through the roof. CZ. Now, I know they've got an American arm now and all, but there's a lot of CZs that are worth money. HK is hard to get into, a lot of money. Some of the Swiss SIG stuff, look at that. I'd really like to have that new SIG, SIG Swiss pistol. Misha had one on his channel and has one for sale on Gunbroker that I was watching. I'd love to have that rifle, but man, oh man, you're probably talking 5 to 8 grand that thing's going to go for. Sorry about that. Anyhow, let's get back in the chat. I just want to talk about these Henrys and set you up for a video coming up. And I figured with deer season coming up, it's a cool subject. And I always like the quality and the US made and the bluing and the wood and all that. So I wanted to talk about all of that. Tell me about the rifles you guys use for deer season. Where are you hunting this year? What state? Anybody hunting in Wisconsin? Y'all got to come up north here and hunt up north. There's a lot of state land up here. The deer aren't big like down south where I lived. The big farm country bucks get huge when they got all that corn and beans to eat and everything. And let's face it, the further north you go, the harder the winters, the less browse there is, and the deer don't get anywhere near as big. I mean, a big buck up north is an old big buck. By the end of winter, on some of these winters, they're eating bark and whatever they can find. You have some years where there's a huge winter kill. If you have a deep snow year or super cold year, they don't get as big. There's not enough food to go around for these. If we didn't hunt them, uh, it'd be disastrous for the herd. Plus, the wolves are doing a huge, uh, they're very detrimental to the deer herd now. 30 years ago, when I lived up north before I moved south, and now I live back north again. But um, 30 years ago, when I was up here, um, they were just then, it was on the news every night. They were going to release, I believe it was 2 packs of radio collared wolves into the North Woods. North of Wausau, actually, probably north of the Monaco area, north to the UP, if you're familiar. 2 packs of radio collared wolves. And they said, oh, it's going to be great. We're reintroducing them. It's going to put the ecosystem back in check. And it's going to remain small like this. And it's just going to be a neat thing. We know they're out there. We continue nature's course and all of that. And they had all these biologists saying how great it was going to be. Fast forward 25 years, well, almost 30 now probably, but it's been going on a while now. Fast forward 25 years, and guess what? The wolves are out of control. They are everywhere. There are packs and packs and packs. Think about it. They breed like dogs. Dogs can pump out more puppies than you could ever imagine when left to their own devices, right? And no different with wolves. And they had all the food they needed up there. Lots of deer and rabbits and stuff, and all kinds of little critters, right? Not to mention all the stuff us humans throw away. And before you knew it, they are absolutely out of control, affecting livestock, affecting deer populations, and so on and so forth. And everybody's pointing fingers going, see, we told you, we told you, we told you. But the DNR always knows better, right? Just like they did. So where I live is a huge tourist area, okay? Known for its fishing, known for its lake living and water sports and summer vacations and cottages, right? So even 30 years ago, now before I moved up there, I was going up there every summer with my grandfather for almost a whole summer, sometimes just a couple weeks. But we were all through northern Wisconsin, UP of Michigan, and parts of Minnesota, all the way to the Canadian border, Lake Kaptogama. But I spent the summers with him up there, relative's house, motorhome camping, and fishing all over the Northwoods. And back then, it was pretty desolate, you know. Once you got north of Wausau, Wisconsin, you were Northwoods, and it just got deeper and deeper. There wasn't these big commercial areas and vacation areas, and resorts and supper clubs were big. Now today, the resorts have all fallen by the wayside. It's because people own summer homes and cottages. Most of the resorts have went away for the most part have been taken over by people that own houses and people that own them to do Airbnb and yada, yada, yada. You saw back then lots and lots of fish, big fish, massive muskies, lots of walleye. 25 years ago, it was nothing for me to sit in my boat, and from 5:30 in the evening to 8:30 at dark, I could boat. I could put in the boat, me and one other guy, 100 walleyes, all legal. Obviously, that's not the limit. You can't keep them. But we fish for sport. Rarely did I keep any. One maybe to eat for dinner. We'd boat 100 walleyes in a night, multiple nights, night after night, on a lake that was well fished. Today, it's all you can do to put 3 in the boat. So the Indians up here it's a Chippewa tribe. They have a reservation, plus there's what they call the ceded territory. Ceded territory is land that they hold rights to, essentially. which in a lot of cases is private property, lakes, forests, all of that, that they have because it was theirs. They have rights to it. They can hunt, they can fish, they can. I don't know exact. Sorry, I keep waving because there's these little gnats flying around here. Um, I'm not exactly positive, but they can. I know they can go on lakes. Yeah, even lakes that don't have access, they can get on them to spear. I believe they can hunt on private property too. Not positive 100%, but back 25 years ago, it was very contentious. There was a court case going on, federal court case over spearing the lakes. They would set bag limits, and everybody pointed fingers. Um, uh, the white people would point at them and say they were overspearing or bending the rules, destroying the lakes, the fish population. And the Native Americans argued that it was their right, that they should be allowed to their season and all of that. And a federal judge decided it. And I believe it was mostly in their favor, but it was so contentious and so heated that there were shootings at the boat landings where they would put in their boats to go spearing. There were shots fired. In a couple of cases, there were people hit. I mean, people were upset, as you can imagine. They viewed it as their land and their right. Just like we're serious about our rights, right? Second Amendment and everything. We love our country. How you think about how you feel 4th of July and that national anthem plays and you get the hair on the back of your neck stands up, and what you would do for your country and how you feel about it, and God forbid anybody talk bad about it, right? Well, they feel the same way, and who can blame them? I believe everyone should feel that way about their country, their family, their nationality, whatever it may be. You should be proud no matter what. And, the other side felt the same way, and it got heated. Well, they gave them the rights to spear a major lake chain up here that the one large town up here is named after, and that's Minocqua, the Minocqua chain. It's made up of a series of lakes, and they allowed spearing. X amount of fish they could take. They get a bag limit. On some of these, I'm trying to think back. It's a long time ago, and I was a lot younger, and I didn't pay as much attention back then as I would have now. But it was in the maybe thousands or tens of thousands of fish, right? And they would say that, they'd always be rumors going around. Well, I watched so and so spear a 14-inch walleye, and then they speared a 27-inch walleye, so they threw the small one back dead. That kind of thing. They'd always say, yeah, when they leave the lake, there's fish floating dead everywhere and all this. How much of that was true or not true, I don't know. I don't believe that somebody would intentionally just waste fish like that. I don't believe they would, but who knows? Anyhow, DNR said, don't worry about it. We know the lake. We shock it. We know the counts, and it's no problem. Well, guess what happened last year? Might have even been the year before. The Minocqua chain of lakes, the biggest draw in the Northwoods, brings more people, more houses, more money, more tourism, more everything, real estate sales. Every business in town counts on these waterways, this fishing and snowmobiling and everything. Guess what? And I can't even believe I have to say this because it's that shocking that anybody that grew up there, has spent any time there, lived there, it can't be, but it is. They closed the entire chain to walleye fishing. There's no walleye left. They're gone. That's so mind-boggling. I can't even wrap my head around it. I just can't even believe it. Did they get their numbers wrong? Was there not enough fish there for the limits they set? Did they take too many? Did weather have something to do with it? Everything I can read and find says that the spearing caused it, and or the numbers of fish the DNR allowed to be taken. And once again, they were wrong. And it just seems like this consistent amount of decisions they've made that have just destroyed so much crap up here. If they'd leave it alone, it would be fine. You know, if you want to build something up here, you want to put any structure even remotely near the lake, within 50 feet of the lake, the permit process and the legal battles you got to go through to get it done are not worth it. My shoreline was eroding. We get a constant wind on our side that was eroding the shoreline, trees falling in, the whole 9 yards. So we wanted to put a rock shoreline in. Big boulders, huge boulders, backfilled with different stuff, smaller stone to make it all lock up. And I got it in right before all this crap happened. And they did it in the winter. They plowed a road across the lake for a couple of months till you got to plow it for it to freeze. Otherwise, it insulates, it doesn't freeze. They brought semi trucks and big backhoes out on trailers all the way across the lake, along with truckloads of boulders. And then they took the backhoe and chipped the ice away about 5-8 feet out from shore to open water, and then placed each boulder all along. Did it all, and when the ice went away in the spring, Biola, there was the seawall. Can't do that anymore. They won't. I don't care how bad you fight, you ain't getting a permit to do it. You know why? Supposedly, a mink or something can't get out of the water and up onto the land. You know, God forbid the other 7,200 miles of lakeshore they can't get up on. But yet I see snakes in the rocks. I see water snakes. I see those little minks or otters or all kinds of little furry animals, birds, frogs, salamanders, you name it. They get up those rocks just fine. You know, it's not like we don't have rocky shorelines all over the place. Most of the lakes have at least part of them rocky shorelines, others trees, this, that, the other. But the rock slides that come in, that's where the walleye spawn and everything. So they're full of it. When they wanted to put public access on our lake, they came to our lake meeting and told us that no problem, it's not going to affect anything. DNR owns this land. We're going to put a boat landing in there. Well, who's going to pick up the garbage from the boat landing? Oh, that'll be lake owner's responsibility. Really? Why? You're putting in the landing. I got to pick up the garbage? And they were putting the landing in. There's several, but this was the main spot where the walleye spawn every spring. I fished this lake for 40 friggin' years. I know every spot of it. And that's the best spawning spot on the lake. I can look down and watch them spawning. It's all rock there. But they said, no, that's not where they spawn. No, we're going to put the landing in here. Well, we fought them and won. Kept them, and they're broke now anyways, the DNR. So screw them. Things have just changed. You got to look back to the old, guys. Grab yourself a nice rifle, something nice, and go hunting this year. Where are you guys going hunting? What are you hunting with? What do you got that's old and cool? Let's talk about old and cool instead of new and tactical today. Let's see what you guys have. Where are you going deer hunting? What are you going to hunt with? Maybe you're going pheasant hunting. I don't know. Let's get back to the comments here so I can say hi to a bunch of you guys. Chase Kelly's in the house. He said he has the 45 Colt and also the standard blued 22. Yeah, the yellow boys are nice. I love the look of them. It's hard to keep them unblemished. It's hard to polish. The small 22s have the covers that can be replaced that are brass, and they're actually sprayed with like a clear lacquer to protect them. So don't use polish on them. Don't take some metal polish and start polishing away. You'll destroy the rifle. They're coated in a clear coat. So they stay okay as long as you don't mar them. Now, the big rifles, the big boy yellow boys, or Golden Boys. That's solid brass. You can polish that. Henry sells the polish in a polishing cloth, but you can use any good metal polish. Just make sure it's something, hopefully just for brass, because that's softer metal and you don't want to get all the swirl marks and all. To truly polish a gun perfect in brass takes a lot of patience, the right stuff, the right cloth even. Because you pick one cleaner that's too aggressive and you're going to have, a dull surface. It's going to just micro scratches and it's going to not have that gleam, So make sure you do some research. But if you own a Golden Boy 22, do not polish it because it's clear coated. Wipe it down. Henry makes a special cloth or microfiber, but it better be a new one and keep it just for that rifle. Don't use it for anything else. You get one little something in there, one gritty speck of dust, and the rifle's ruined. But getting to the point, they make a blued version, much more durable, probably better suited to hunting and actually using in the outdoors instead of just, bench shooting or something. Although I take mine hunting. They also make an all-weather stainless version that's really cool. Really nice rifle. I saw a YouTube video in 45 Colt and really nice. Yeah, I like that. They make a ton of different rifles and they make single shot deer rifles too. The old thought of one bullet, one shot, one deer, right? Well, they make it. It's good for first timers. Hell, it's good for a sportsman that wants to just be that accurate. I only need one rifle and one bullet. I'm going to get my deer, right? Kind of cool. They make all kinds of cool stuff. Martin Co. I just got a Derringer in 45 long Colt. Very cool. Will it also shoot 410s? There was I think Cobra, maybe Jake had one. I know he had Derringers. He loves them. His wife loves them. But I think he had a Cobra. No, he had a Bond Arms, I think. Bond Arms makes a 45/410 Derringer, I believe. Also, there's the Taurus Judges that are 45 Colt and 410. 45 Colt is a really, really cool round for so many things. It's great in a vaquero, great in a lever action. How cool is it to go out deer hunting? You got your 45 lever action and a 45 single action on your side. That's cool, man. Commonality of ammo, great combo, right? There's probably no more natural pointing weapon in the world than a Colt single action or a Ruger Vaquero. Just the way the ergonomics of the gun are made, it's the most naturally pointed pistol in the world. You don't aim a Colt. You don't aim it. You point shoot, and it's just there. It's just natural. It's like your finger, Try them out. A lot of cool stuff out there, guys. The videos are whatever my phone looks up, pops in my head. My dad and discuss. Oh, I read that one. I'm sorry. Squeaky says they are gorgeous rifles. They are. They're truly a work of art. Always wanted a lever gun. We had a Henry like 20 years ago. It was the only one they made that was a lemon. Really? I've heard of some, very few, having growing pains when they were new. And either they worked themselves in or Henry took care of whatever the issue was. But very, very few. Usually, not so much on Winchesters because of the design, but even on the 45 long Colt, a lot of user error. So a lot of times guys are short stroking them. They're in a hurry or trying to shoot fast. And that last little tiny bit is what causes either it to drop fully or to bring that elevator up. So you got to make sure you do it in properly and completely. It's easy to short stroke a Henry, especially the big ones.
That's why we always practice safety. Always. Oh, talking about the safety on that Black Aces Tactical. Yeah. Think about it. I always, even after, let's say I just shooting a video and I get through with a 30 round mag on the AK. You'll see me drop the mag. You'll see me 2 or 3 times stroke the bolt, then point it in a safe direction and pull the trigger. Always you'll see me do that in every video I've ever made. Doesn't even have to be an AK. It can be anything. I always point a second in a safe area and hit the trigger to drop it. If that's the end of the video or whatever, or end of the scene. Always, it's just habit. I will never, even with the gun empty, will I ever pull that trigger when it's pointed somewhere else but safe. You'll see me do it. It's very obvious every video. And it's what I was doing with this. Thank God. Imagine if you didn't. Imagine if that wasn't your habit since the day you started shooting, what your father ingrained in you, or your mother, or your grandfather, whoever. It was ingrained in me. They always say breaking one safety rule will not get someone hurt or killed. It's when you break 2 or 3 of them. Usually even 2 you can get away with, but that's why we have those same basic safety rules. And they're stated by the NRA, all the different associations. They're all very similar, maybe worded a little different. But you really have to break 2 or 3 to get someone killed or hurt. But you shouldn't even be breaking 1, but it's designed that way. So if you learn and you're a 70% student, you're still okay. D students will still pass the ultimate test, right? Let's see. Hey, Joe said hi to you, Jake. True Loretta, American Loretta's in here. What's going on? Good to have you, my dear. It skipped on me. A lot of comments we're going to catch. Oh, I see some of my buddies are in here. This is going to be good. Jesus Murphy, $6,000. Yeah. Do you believe that? $6,000 for a Vepr. Now, yeah, they were expensive AKs. Remember, he remembers when I got them. And I thought, God, yeah, a lot of money. I think what, $1,200 maybe. I think the cheapest I paid for a Vepr was like $899. And the most expensive side folder was like $1,200. $6,000, man. $6,000 in the box. I should start selling them, huh, Jake? Although, what gets the cash? That's an immediate 40% loss, right? Unbelievable. But it was better to have the money where I got it than in cash, let me tell you. I knew it would pay off eventually. It's just crazy. Let's see what Jake has to say here. Oh, man, Jake's commenting like crazy, and I saw some good ones here. So you guys know, Jake knows his way around guns, and he likes the same stuff we all like. He loves Mosin Nagants. Absolutely loves them. Something about them. I don't know if it's the Russian or just that they're a bit cruder, but yet classic in World War II, or that big 7.62 x 51 cartridge. Whatever it is, he loves them. He loves his 308 Savage too. Man, oh man. And loves shooting at Jake. I found the video that I took of you at your range shooting your 308, and the one with the cinder block, the slow-mo one. It's too bad that one's so damn grainy, but I'd love to put that in a video. You should see what these 308s do to this cinder block. It's unreal. But yeah, Jake loves nothing better than to sit down with a pile of we have a special formula reload for our rifles we use. And we've had some interesting stuff. Jake will tell you. How about the day? I never would have believed it unless I saw it. Jake didn't either. We were both like looking at each other like, what did that just happen? There was, I think it was an oak tree, right, Jake? Or a walnut tree? I think a big oak. And I'm not kidding you. That oak was this thick. It was pushing 2 feet thick. Maybe more. I'll say 2 feet conservatively. And it was a live tree, not a dead tree, live tree, wet wood. And we were shooting a target on it. And these 308s, Hornady, match grade, full metal jacket,
hollow point boat tails, right? And they were going through the cardboard target, through that 2-foot oak tree, and coming out the other side. How does them apples grab you? Don't believe me? Jake will tell you. Never seen. I never thought in a million years. Not in a maybe an old rotted tree or something. Not this thing. It was wet live wood and unbelievable. All right. Let's see. We'll get down to Jake's stuff here, but you guys are all coming on some good stuff here. Do, 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 do. Looking forward to your channel, Joe. Make sure to relay info. Yeah, Joe, that's going to be so many people starting channels, right? That's awesome. I hope you guys enjoy it and like it. Get into it for the right reasons. Get into it because you enjoy doing it. Because if you're getting into it because you think it's going to bring you money or guns or parts or something like that or fame, none of the above. I can promise you that. It's a tough gig if that's what you're looking at. You got to do it because you enjoy it, because the rest aren't going to come. I'm not saying it can't happen. It can, but I don't have the personality, the looks, the whatever to, this is 2 years, 7,000 subscribers, and some people, wow, 7,000. Yeah, that's good, I guess, but the watch time's not there. My style maybe, or I jump around, or these live streams aren't everybody's bag. It's a very close knit. I thought I'd have a lot more people in these live streams, but maybe doing them every week is too much. I don't know, but or maybe I should script them more, stay on topic. But I do it because I like all the different things we talk about, and talk about your comment. Like I say, we talk about what you want to talk about in your comments. I start with a little something, then we go here. And that's not everybody's bag. These are done for the people that have, because I did it, a long ride, maybe a 2-hour ride home at night after work, or they save it to listen to on a long ride going somewhere, and they don't have to keep flipping videos every 6 minutes. They can turn this on and listen to just a bunch of guys talking about guns. Jake sent me a hilarious video today from it was TikTok, actually. I posted it to my Instagram. Go watch this video. It's 3 old guys, an uncle, pawpaw, and a dad. It's the same guy playing all 3 parts, and they're talking about how they talk about guns and shooting. Just 3 good old boys. It is the fun. I was rolling on the floor. I wish to God me and Jake were together watching it at the same time, because we would have pissed ourselves watching this thing. So go to my Instagram and check it out. It's hilarious. It's the best one I've seen in a long, long time. Life is and the old man made Parolius. Joe, I'm so sorry, man. I'm sorry you lost your dad. I know, guys, Joe's been taking care of his parents for a long, long time, and he's devoted everything to taking care of them. He's put everything he does to the side to take care of them. He redid a gun for his dad not too long ago, right, Joe? We were talking. He added a bunch of accessories, and he sent me a picture of his dad holding it. And I hope he got to shoot it at least once. I thought when you sent me that picture that I'm thinking, man, I hope he gets to shoot it. I thought he probably wouldn't at the time, but that doesn't matter. You could see in his face how happy he was, and I'm sure most of it was because you made it for him. You put it together with stuff he liked, and that was cool. I trust me, from you guys know my loss that I had, and you don't get over it. You just don't. It affects me every minute of every day. I'm not the same person I was a year ago at all. I don't have the same enjoyments. I may not show it every day, but it destroys you. It just does. But you do what you do. You keep going, and you deal with that yourself. You deal with it when you're alone, that kind of thing. You just problem is you end up spending more time alone. But yeah, Joe, I'm so sorry. I know how close you guys were too. I mean, that's all. If in case you guys didn't notice, Joe talks about his dad all the time, right? And he was one of the lucky ones to have that relationship with his dad, where they enjoyed the same hobbies and could talk about the same things and do the same things. And I have that with my dad too. Jake loves my dad. Jake laughs harder at my dad than anybody. He's easy to laugh at, though. He's funny. But, my dad, Joe, so is kind of the same position now as your dad was. So I try to enjoy every minute I can. Yeah, even though sometimes it's very, very tough. But hey, guys, that's part of what makes the people, well, I should just say this country, the world, really, any good people. You just remember one thing: no matter how hard it is sometimes, whether that's physical tasks you have to do, monetary things, or emotionally hard things, or whatever, they took care of you when you couldn't take care of yourself. And or maybe it wasn't your parents that took care of you. Maybe it was someone else, a grandmother, a grandfather, a sister, aunt, whatever. Maybe you're adopted, but somebody loved you enough to bring into their life and took care of you when you couldn't and didn't ask any questions, right? And we got to do the same. Um, Nursing homes are there when you just can't do it anymore. And I don't want to ever make anyone feel guilty about having to make that decision. But man, take care of them. They wouldn't have sent you off somewhere, hopefully. Take care of them. That's what makes Americans Americans. That's why in Chicago in the old days, you had 3 generations all living in the same 3 flat, right? Because mom and dad had the babies. Grandma was there to help with the babies. The parents would work. Maybe, or mom stayed home maybe, but the grandma and the mom kept the house together. And then when grandma got old, they took care of them, and the grandkids helped take care of them. And the cycle repeated, right? That's what families are about. That's what bonds them together, and that's what makes this country so great. Yeah, and most societies are like that, I think. But I'd like to think that we do it like everything else a little better than the rest. Anyhow, Joe, I'm really sorry. I hope I think you probably would agree or say you think he's probably in a much better, more comfortable place right now. So sorry to hear it, and I'm sure everybody here feels the same, Joe. So everybody say a little prayer for Joe and his family tonight, because no matter how close or not close you are, if the closer you are, the worse it is. But it's tough. It's wrenching. It's this constant feeling in your stomach. From the second you wake up and you open your eyes and you're awake 2 seconds and you go, oh yeah. Yeah. So take it easy, Joe. Take a few days, relax, deep breath, and things get better, hopefully. Let's see. All right. I found our spot here again, guys. Squeaky cooler. Looking forward to a channel, Joe. Yeah, Joe, I knew when you said that comment, I'm like, uh-oh. Did I read that wrong? I read it again. I'm like, nope, I know what happened. Joe says, firearms are freedom no matter the format they come in, and that classic wood and blue steel is a market from a gone age and a better time. Yeah, it was. Can't beat a Mosin. No, you can't. Literally, if you beat it, it just gets better. You can't break it, that's for sure. Jake says, I got a closet full of old wood, and beat up the better, in my opinion. Chris would beg to differ, but it's history of the dings and dents and electrical tape holding the foregrip on. Yeah. So Jake loves his guns, and he'll take a brand new gun, and I see it 2 months later, and I'm like, is that same gun, Jake? Yep. Why? No, nothing. It's got rust already and this and that. It shoots the same. It's just some things are important to some people and not to others, and at the end of the day, it don't matter. It's what pleases you. It's what makes you happy. And yeah, me, I got one scratch. I don't want the gun anymore. I like it because I told you guys last week, the melding of a rough piece of wood and a rough rock melted down, steel, iron turned to steel. When human hands make it that perfect and meld it together and so shiny and symmetrical and smooth, there's something about that perfection to me that I just love. And yeah, that's what I like. So others like that patina. Now, don't get me wrong. I like patina too. And I love the look of a beat up World War II weapon. And I tell you guys in my stock refinishing and wood refinishing videos that a lot of what I do is I don't sand. Rarely will you ever see me sand unless someone asks for that, or I'm redoing it for a specific reason, but rarely will it ever be a historical firearm from World War II, let's say, or whatever, because every ding, crack, scratch, mark, whatever is part of the history of that. That dent may have been put there climbing over a wall in coming into Berlin, or maybe that crack happened because it got wood soaked crossing a river in France or something. And when it dried out, it cracked, or all that baked on black oil under the stock is there when they were slathering it in axle grease just to protect it. Or whatever the case may be. Maybe one was from whacking somebody in the side of the head with it, and saved the life of a buddy. Who knows? Maybe a piece of shrapnel hit it or whatever. Maybe as he fell into a foxhole, and it got a dent. So what I'll do is I'll clean it up. I'll remove the finish off the top. I'll clean it up, but I'll leave all those dents, things, scratches, this, that. And let's say on a Mosin, I'm putting shellac back on. I'll put the shellac on, a couple coats, and then with 4-aught steel wool, usually take off almost all of it, except for what filled some of those dings and dents. Then another coat, same thing, another coat, more steel wool, until you fill up all those dents and dings to the surface of the rest of it, and then full coats are going on smooth. So the end result is a smooth glass-like finish, but all those dings and dents are in there. You can see them under that finish. You didn't remove them. You just sealed them in a nice smooth coating. Protects them, still looks good, but still has that character. Some of these Mosins, especially on the wrist of the stock, where if you're a righty, your right hand is. Most of these Mosins, the wood there is so dark from two things. Number one, oil that maybe if the gun is stood up, muzzle up, resting in a corner or something, the oil runs down in there. But it's not just oil. There is, so I can't tell you how many Mosins. I've done a lot of them, but 10 for sure of them that I could not get the dirt out. It's so worn in from that hand here and here. This most of the time will come out. But here, where they're gripping and squeezing, the dirt is worn in. Whatever was on their hands is worn into that wood, and the wood is so dark from it. I'm not talking just where the oil comes down. I'm talking all the way around where a hand would be. It's just crunched in there for years and years of use. You can't get it out no matter how you try. I've put them through dishwashers. I've power washed them. I've soaked them in acetone for hours. I've done everything you can do to a stock. If you guys need to know how to ruin a stock, ask me. I can tell you on those rifles, I know what won't hurt them, and that's just about everything. Acetone don't hurt them. Power washing, put it through your dishwasher. Nothing hurts them. They come out just fine. It's hard to hurt one. If you want to clean one, all of those ways I mentioned will do it. To some extent, some areas it just won't get out. Some will turn the wood a bit fuzzy, but a little coat of steel wool or whatever, and it's gone. There's a lot of ways. Yeah, it's really hard to hurt a good military stock. It is. It's not so much the wetting or chemical process that can hurt them, but the drying out more than anything. So you don't want to ever push the drying process. You want it to happen slowly and naturally. Anyhow, just a little advice there. Mine is a Savage 99 in 300 Savage. Woo! That's an ass kicker, ain't it? What was in that video today, Jake? He mentioned a 300, and what did he say in the comment? That'll go boom boom, or she's a boom boom, something like that. She's got some boom boom to her. Oh God. All kinds of good topics each time, Rock. I'm good with it. I hope so. You're here every week, I guess. Either that or you really got nothing to do. You're a really boring guy with no friends. No, I'm kidding. Don't worry. You can always come here. We'll take you. I love my old H&R 9-shot revolver. Wow. I don't know that I've ever seen an H&R 9-shot revolver. 38? What is it? Colombian 7mm FN Mauser. Nice wood. Ooh. Anything that says FN on it is good. There's nothing ever come out of FN that was bad. Nothing. If you beg to differ, tell me what came out of FN that was no good. I don't think you can come up with one. Jake's got a golden boy. Yep, he loves it. Dan Dude 2010. Henry's are sweet. I have a 4570 all weather. It hits hard, but not too bad. Everybody says that. That 4570 is such a great cartridge. And the all weather is nice. Look on Instagram and even YouTube. There's some guys that have done some really cool kydex on those things for cheek risers and stuff. I got some pictures. I may have posted them to Instagram. If not, I will. They're not my rifles, but really, I took pictures of them because they were so neat. That's such a good-looking gun. The all-weather or the black on black. It's so good. 4570. I got to have a 4570. So I think I'm going to do my tactical one in 4570, I think, actually. Kind of cool. The 45 he's talking about now, smooth, and absolutely beautiful. Yeah, that it is nice. Chase Kelly, the slightly worn lighter walnut on my Auto 5 that was Grandpa's bird gun is cool, and the bluing is still so nice on that old Browning. Wonderful shotgun I'd take before anything new. So let's talk about bluing for a second. We all know of a gun we have, or Grandpa's gun, or an uncle's gun, or a friend's gun that they inherited, that you look at the bluing and you go, oh my God, it's just so deep. And, a lot of bluing you see is almost black, or here. Nice bluing, super nice bluing is always the product of an immaculate, gorgeous, super high polished job. So bluing does not hide a damn thing. it just changes the color. So the more you polish it, the more beautiful the bluing is. Military bluing is different. That's why you get those darker tones and all, plus the chemicals. But uh, they're not polishing the guns. They're just bluing them to stop and inhibit rust. But when it comes to a Colt or a Smith & Wesson, so the one gun that always comes to mind with me when I just look at it and go, damn, I wish I want that finish on this, or I want that finish on this. And try and find yourself a hot blue guy today. There's nobody doing it. They're so far and few between. Me and Jake talked about, we had talked about making me some tanks and stuff. And we were going to start hot bluing because I just think there's a lot of money in it because there's not a lot of people doing it. It's hard to find, let alone somebody that can polish well to get the good bluing beforehand. That's the key. So the one gun that I just marvel at every time I look at it is my dad's Smith & Wesson service revolver. Mine was stainless 686. His is older, probably bought around 70, 71 maybe. It's a 6. Mine has the where the ejector level rod is enclosed in the full length of the barrel, that extra weight down below there. Is it like the 686? Mine is 686. So y'all know what that looks like. His doesn't have the full length there. It was more of a standard model. I can't remember what number it is, though. I'll have to ask him. Anyhow, he carried that revolver for years, and it's got holster wear. It's a shame it does. But I don't think I'd ever reblue it because for the little bit of holster wear it has, or a lot even in some cases, the bluing is so perfect, so deep, and so blue. It's amazing that was a standard over-the-counter, here you go, plain Jane Smith & Wesson. I can't even believe it. And Colt has a color that I think only comes from their custom shop. And it's cobalt blue, I believe. And once in a while, they'll do just a couple screws in that color to set it off. But I've seen whole slides done, or I can imagine a python done in that cobalt. And they've offered several, maybe a 1911 done in it with some other white grips. It's just so blue. It's just gorgeous. But my dad's Smith & Wesson comes the closest to that. The bluing is incredible. We've never owned, between my family, that's the only gun I can think of that ever had that perfect bluing like that, or gorgeous bluing that deep. But I would love to have a Colt or something. I think it's they call it, or they get that blue from charcoal. That super blue, I call it, that cobalt blue. I think it comes from a certain charcoal bluing process is how they get it. But it's an amazing color. They're all like classic cars. They never go out of style. You're right. It's like, you know what? Here, you can relate it to a lot of things. Ralph Lauren clothes, shirts, whatever. They never go out of style. It's a classic. There's nothing Ralph Lauren makes that isn't classically styled. And from his, brown leather jackets to his polo shirts to his jeans, whatever. They're classically styled. They're not the latest, most modern trend. They just are good looking, solid, always in style. That's what a blued and wood gun is. Jake says, agreed, Chase. I tend to pick the redheaded stepchild in the corner that people tend to not bother to look at. He always does that. We'll go in a shop Like, what'd you buy, Jake? Oh, I got these 2 old shotguns. I look at them. I'm like, I wouldn't paddle my canoe with that thing. But he loves them. He just loves them. He's got an Arasaka that has been beat up and worn, and but I like that rifle too, though. That's a cool rifle. He had his hands on a couple old Enfields, were they? That were chrome plated. What do they call them? Parade rifles or something. Kind of cool too. Again, beat up and all, but cool. He's got some really cool shotguns too. Old 22s. Him and my dad get along good because they both like old 22s. If there's an old, the cheaper the better, the crummier the better. As long as the sights are there and it operates, my dad will buy the 22. He don't care what it is, what brand, model, make. He'll buy a 22. He loves 22s. I am stealing that term, Joe. Front stuffer. Hell, even front stuffers are making a comeback. Yeah. Yes, they are. Oh, by the way, Jake, there's a black powder shoot Sunday, and the guy called me to invite me, and I was going to go, but I had to get the boats out of the water. So that shut that down. I was really pissed. I wanted to go. I took last place last time, in case you didn't know. All those old bastards beat me. It's hard, much harder than it looks. I picked up a 410 a couple years ago. I want to redo. She's rough but stout. It's the other thing my dad loves, 410s. God forbid he walks in the store and there's a 410-22 over and under. Oh my God. It don't matter. They could start a bidding war. He'd be the top bidder on it. Gun's worth $595 and he's like, yeah, 2,000. He loves 410-22s. I bought him a Savage 410-22 break open, the modern one, black polymer stock, red accents. He carries that gun around outside. What are you doing, Dad? Damn red squirrels chewing up everything. They'll tear your house down. You don't shoot. You got to shoot them red squirrels. He shoots every red squirrel he finds, and then he props it up on the hood of my wife's car so she screams. That's his favorite thing to do. He'll save them till she's there. He comes over and then he puts it on her hood. Let's see, Squeaky. I think I mentioned it a few weeks back in the chat, but got a beautiful old Marlin lever chambered in 35 Remington, closest closet queen, never drilled and tapped for scope or sling. Rifle is brand new. Wow. So my buddy Scradlip, we talked about Scradlip. I talked to him right before the show. Scradlip has a lever action 35 Remington, but I can't find load data for 35 Remington, but there's load data for 35 Remington Magnum. I think it's one and the same. I haven't researched it deeper, but what I first found was that. Is it a Magnum? I'll tell you what, I shot that thing. Holy Jesus. You talk about a kick. I'm watching him shoot it, and he's got a scope on his. And every time he shoots it, I swear it's just going to cave his skull in that scope. And I'm watching him. I'm like, God, he doesn't know what he's in for, because he doesn't shoot that much. So he says, you want to shoot it? I said, sure. Holy, what's Jake saying? Jesus Murphy. Jesus Murphy. Man, does that cartridge kick. Holy shit, that cartridge kicks. I was shocked. But I read a little bit about it in the reloading manual, but it was under 35 Remington Magnum. And they said what it was, what the original thoughts making the cartridge and all. Yeah, that sucker is stout if it's one and the same. Let us know here. If you have one, that's cool. And man, I'd be a player for that thing, especially untouched. That's right up my alley. I don't know that I'd put a scope on that gun anyways. I can't remember what I read about the ballistics, but I do know it was interesting because I remember looking up and reading. It was either the Hornady manual or maybe the Nosler. Hey, buddy, come here. Come here. Oh, somebody stopped in to see us. Hello, Mr. Calvin. He came to hang out for a while, so he can hang with us. This is my little buddy. This is Calvin. He's awesome. This guy makes me happy every day. He's the cutest little thing. I got him in Georgia. Anyhow, yeah, his is a Marlin too. So you guys, I bet, have the same gun. His uncle gave it. His uncle bought it for him. I think they got that caliber for a reason. He ordered it. Here's the story on it. He bought it, and the thing couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. And his uncle is an engineer. Gun was all over the place, just slinging bullets all over. I mean, way off, like 4 feet off and stuff. His uncle took some measurements, then wrote a letter on his letterhead from his engineering firm, telling him that it was bored to such and such, and that it was wrong, and this and that. And here's all the measurements, sent them all to him. And he said, here's what's wrong with it. If you send the parts to me, I'll do the work. You don't even have to do it. They answered his letter and sent him a new barrel along with the letter. They put the barrel on, and it was fine. The barrel was bored wrong, completely wrong. I forget exactly what, but I'll bet you this barrel was done a little nicer because of the engineering letterhead and all the measurements he gave, like in-depth crazy. I saw the drawings. And they sent him the barrel. He put the barrel in. This guy took a 1903 World War I U.S. issue rifle. It now has a stainless barrel about that big around. I'm not kidding you. Almost a 2-inch bull barrel. And the caliber is, let me think for a minute here. What is that caliber? He gave me his dies and everything. I'm going to be reloading bullets for it. But it's got these crazy sights and everything. It's a bench rest gun. It's insane. And the thing, if you shoot box ammo through it, it's accurate. You should see it with his recipe reloads. I'll have it next week for you. What a gun. But anyways, 35 Remington Magnum, I'm assuming, in this, where is it? In this Marlin. Incredible. You're going to love that. If you don't, and you don't like that thing, let me know, because it just kind of turned me on. I thought it was, after I read about the cartridge, it really turned me on. I thought, man, I don't own a Marlin. I'd like to own one in that caliber. What? What's wrong, buddy? Want to go by your girlfriend? Okay, go on. Go on. Kelvin, ladies and gentlemen. What? Now you're going to hang out? All right. He'll just go pee on something else. Let's see. I think, yeah, okay. Old Marlins are beautiful. The wood on the old guns is amazing. The workmanship, you just don't see it anymore. We don't have the craftsmen to build that stuff anymore. You had guys that came up through a factory with different jobs leading up to, like maybe it was an actual apprenticeship, maybe it was a pseudo apprenticeship as they moved up, but they knew how to do it. And you just don't have that anymore. That manufacturing's moved on, and to where it's moved on, you don't see it. You don't see those guns coming out of Turkey. Turkey, I'm sure, could build shotguns as good as the Italians or anybody else. They don't. Maybe there's some really nice ones. I don't know. But it just seems a lot of modern technology doesn't give you, while it may be more precision as far as, measurements and whatnot and tolerances, I don't think you get it. That what gives you that feeling, that hand fitted, hand filed, hand sanded, hand finished. That adds a warmth and a luxury to something that a machine or a spray gun just can't give. It's amazing. And I don't think it's anything you can put your finger on either. It's just a multitude of things that give it that feeling. One of the first guns I ever shot was a Winchester 1894 30-30.
with my grandpa when I was a kid. Realized very quickly how hot the barrel gets if you don't keep your fingers on that front wood grip. Yeah, they do, especially if you're target shooting, and I don't know. You still got to put a pretty good amount through, but you put 10, 15 rounds through, it's going to get pretty hot, especially to a kid. Apotheosis said that. Yeah, I think a lot of us, our first rifles were 30-30s, right? Mine was $99 at Kmart. My dad took me for my birthday. Think about that. Think about how times have changed when, first of all, an iconic store like Kmart doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. Second of all, that iconic everyday department store where your grandma bought her fabric and your dad bought whatever, you could walk in and buy a Winchester and nobody thought anything of it. Today, oh my God, they'd picket the place, they'd shut them down. They're selling guns to our children. Kmart, $99. I'm going to show you the box next week on the channel with the receipt. Yeah, I think the receipt's in it. I'll find it. But it was $99. I remember that was the most money I had ever seen spent on me at the time. I thought, man, that's a lot of money. $99 for a handmade, not granted, it's supposedly the bad years. I don't know. It's got nice bluing, beautiful wood. $99. They were able to make that gun in the US of A for $99 with American steel and American wood and American craftsmanship and blued and the whole 9 yards, $99. Now, the store doesn't exist. The company doesn't exist. Winchester, guys, so you know, the company's gone. Doesn't exist. It's a name somebody bought and they stamp it on rifles made in here and there and everywhere. It's just a brand now. There's nothing behind it. There's no Winchester factory. None of that. It's all gone. Most guns were made in Connecticut. All those big manufacturers were based in Connecticut. Now it's all anti-gun Connecticut, right? Amazing. Orion Fixers here. Good to see you, man. Says, come on, give the guys a like. Oh, by the way, I'm so sorry. Somebody gave me a super chat I saw pop up. We'll see who it is soon. Thank you very much for the super chat. I only bug you guys once per thing. Down where you comment, there's a dollar sign. Click on it. You can give from 1 penny to $1 million. Million would be great, but a penny does too. I especially like 7.62. That's kind of cool, or 5.56. Some guys do. It's the only way we fund the channel anymore because monetization is long gone. Just doesn't happen. So anything you guys can spare would be greatly appreciated, and it goes back into the channel. Enough said. And I'll get to your super chat. I'm so sorry. Hang in there. I have a Remington 31 TC trap gun that Turnbull restored. Awesome work. How old's that gun, AK Old School? So my first gun, period, my first gun ever, is a Remington 870 TB trap. So for the T designates trap and the C is the grade of wood. Mine's B grade, and then C was the top. I bought they had a B and a C where we got mine when I picked it out. But in this particular case, the wood they had put on the B was nicer than the C grade. It was just, they were close, must have been. And my 870's got a beautiful, I'm looking at it right now. I've had that gun since I was 14, 15. I've shot tens of thousands of rounds through it, shooting trap all my life. Maybe I don't even know. Could be 100,000. I don't know. I've shot that much through it. I've hunted birds with it too. I love it. It's gorgeous. So your TC must be gorgeous too. I didn't know Turnbull did stuff like that. How old is that gun? You said Remington, 31. 31. So yours a model 31. I'm not familiar with it. Single shot or what is it? Or 31-inch barrel maybe. TC trap. Mine's an 870 30-inch barrel TB trap. Vent rib barrel, the whole 9 yards. What's up, Orion? Yes, he's here. Jesus Murphy, $6,000. We talked about that. I'm trying to fly through these. Yeah, I can understand to a point with the younger generation, but quite frankly, I wish I knew what I've only known for the last 15, 20 years. Otherwise, I would own crates of pre-ban AKs and cheap mill syrup. Yep. Who would have thunk $69 Mosins were, $400 now or more. It's crazy. Hindsight's 2020, but here, anytime there's a mill syrup, there's a limited supply. They're going to dry up. The import's going to dry up eventually. There's only so many, and then they go away. And then the value goes through the roof. So I tell you guys, every week, go to the CMP and order yourself up a grand. Don't want to order it? Drive to their 2 stores. Call ahead. They'll tell you what they got in stock. Drive there. Take a weekend. Grab a buddy. Go get a grand. Well, you can still get them at those prices because the minute they're gone, I don't know what the CMP's charging now. It's from somewhere from $600 to $1,000. The minute that last load is gone, and they're pretty sure this last load that came out of the Philippines, I believe it was, is the last load. They don't think there's any more. And every time a load comes in, they get worse and worse and worse. There was everything from junk to gorgeous collectible. I think number 2 grand ever came out of this load. Imagine that. Some were ruined by shit that was leaking on them. It cost them millions, and they had a timeline. They barely got it on the plane out of the Philippines in time and met the deadline to land them in the U.S. by like an hour, or that whole load was lost and millions lost. The CMP puts a ton of money into getting these rifles back here off Lend-Lease, and this was when they found, and it was a lot of rifles, and something had dripped on them in a warehouse. They had it tested. It was a no-no, whatever this liquid was. They had to break everything down, have it decontaminated, recreated, which all of that cost a fortune just to get it back here. If they couldn't raise the money by such and such a date, they were going to scrap them all because they were that bad, I guess, some of them. Not all of them, but all fell into it, so they had to do it. They spent a fortune getting them back here just so you and I could go have a piece of history. So if you want one, maybe you're short. Do everything you can to save your money and go get one, because once they're gone, I don't think you're going to see any more loads. They talked about it, that they don't believe there's any left out there, that they have them all back off Lend-Lease. There may be, who knows, something could always pop up. But when they know the main thing's gone and you're relying on a pop-up of a few rifles from some country coming in, what's going to happen to the price? Though when this load's gone, these rifles are going to triple overnight. You'll spend $1,000 one day, and they're going to be $3,000 and on up after that. They're going to be worth more than just about any other World War II surplus rifle. It's the rifle that saved the world. It's the greatest battle implement of all time, according to General Patton, right? Go get one. Go get one. Stop. If you can find one on the open market for $1,000, $1,200, $1,500, buy it. Buy it, buy it, buy it. You want to make some money? There's your money maker right there. Go grab one. Grab 2. Grab as many as you can afford, because it's going to be ridiculous when they're gone. They're still there. You can still get bayonets, ammo, all that stuff. No, I haven't seen carbines in a long time. I think they're gone. There was that load of 1911s that came and went. Those went for a fortune. That's a no-brainer, guys. No-brainer. You'll pay more than that for an AK today for an arsenal. Go get a goddamn grand. Yeah, by all means, go grab one. Let's see. Guy who hunts my woods pulled a Big 10 Saturday, did he? Bo? Yeah, must have been Bo, right? I was going to bow hunt this weekend, but I was too busy. I got to get out there. I got to get some arrows. I have a NEPA. I have a access on buddy's private property for deer. Cool. DNR self-appointed experts, just like DOJ. You guys, Orion, you always manage to hit it on the head.
Look at all the alphabet soup agencies listed right there. You know what's funny? Until just now, I never put that together. I didn't dump them in with the rest of them. But yeah, at a state level, it's all the same crap, right? They're not elected, they're bureaucrats, right? With law enforcement arms, enforcers. And let me tell you something, they will enforce. There's some good ones, though, I got to say. There's just something about three-letter agencies. Yeah, something that breeds this power that they seize on, or a certain type of personality goes for. You know what I mean? Squeaky Cooler Archery is now here. Pheasants come in next Saturday. Looking forward to getting out for them. Pheasant hunting's my favorite, by the way. Our problem is there's no natural birds left. Farmers clean cut. There's no hedgerows anymore. When I was a kid, we hunted hedgerows, and the farmers left them wide. You had 4 or 5 feet on each side of heavy grass and all that. And we hunted back. We were kids, so we didn't have expensive hunting dogs and everything. We were lucky that your mom had some toy little dog. So we were the bird dogs. Me and Scrodlip would pick a hedgerow, and we'd each walk one side of the fence, kicking around with your boots till one flew up, and hope you got a shot. One day, we stopped. We were 16, I think, and we stopped midway down this hedgerow. And we're leaning on the fence. Guns are on the fence. We light up a smoke. We're having a smoke. We're just about done with the smoke. So about 5 minutes. Don't you know, a friggin' cock comes up right between us. We had been sitting there talking over this bird. My boot was within 3 inches of this thing for 5, 6, 7 minutes, and it held tight. That bird busted. You never seen 2 16-year-olds jump that high in your life. Oh my God, scared. Your heart was in your throat. All that noise coming up. I tried grabbing for the shotgun. By the time I got it up and got the safety off, and it was gone. Only cock we saw that day, too. It was hen after hen after hen after hen. But that thing held tight that long. Then when I bought a German short-haired pointer. Guy felt sorry for me. I was down fishing on Lake Michigan for trout and salmon in the fall. And a kid comes down with a German short-haired puppy. And a friend of mine had one. I wanted one bad. I said, "Oh, man, where'd you get the puppy? Oh, he's beautiful, He says, "Oh, my dad breeds them." I said, "Really? So he's a puppy. You got more?" "Oh, yeah, he's got 4 or 5 more." I said, "Where do you live, kid?" He says, "Come on, I'll take you." A couple blocks away. Now, this is along the north shore of Lake Michigan. North Shore suburb, Chicago. Extremely expensive area, right? Extremely. Like the wealthiest neighborhood in all of Illinois, called Kenilworth. And takes me to this huge mansion, big long drive. And I come walking up with him, and he says, "Dad, somebody's interested in your dogs." And the guy comes out. He says, "What can I do for you?" I said, "Well, I saw your son's German short hair, and I've wanted one. If you have any, are they for sale?" He says, "They might be." I said, "Can I ask how much they are?" And he said, $1,200. Now, this is in the 80s, right? And I said, "Whoa." He must have seen the look on my face. I didn't have $200, let alone $1,200, And you're a kid. You don't know what's what. So he must have seen the look on my face. He said, "But," he goes, "the reason I'm asking that is," and he went through the bloodlines and all of this and stuff, "Oh, okay. I just know I want this cool brown and white dog for hunting." I said, "Well, thank you. I appreciate it, but I can't do it right now." So I turn away. I'm walking away. He says, "Hey, kid." I said, "Yeah." He says, "You got any money on you?" I said, "Yeah, some." He says, "How much you got?" He says, "Let's see." I pulled it out, and I had just shy of $200. 100 of it was money I was saving for this fishing rod, and I had some other money and my gas money for the week to go to school, and lunch money, I think, too, for the week. It was like a Tuesday or something. So I counted all out. It was like 180 some odd dollars. He says, "You sure this dog's for you?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I pheasant hunt." And I told him the town and where we went and all. And that my dad's friend had one of these and da 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 da. Whatever it was enough that he says, "Well, I'll tell you what." He says, "You give me this. I'm going to take 150. Here's some money. So you need some money in your pocket to drive home, whatever. And you're going to need to buy some dog food because you're taking a puppy home with you today." And he sold me the dog. So I got home. Well, I couldn't tell my mom or my dad. I lived at my uncle's gas station with the dog for about a week. I told my mom I was staying at I forget where, I don't even know. Anyhow, my grandma knew. She'd watch him during the day. I'd go to work at the gas station, go to school. And finally, when they found out about him, I was pulling out of the gas station one day. The puppy was in a box on my front seat. And I had a Jeep and the top was off. And my mom looked in and saw the puppy. She was driving up into the gas station. And she had a look, man, oh man. "You take that thing back." And blah, blah, blah. I just drove off. So then she told my dad. My dad called me at work, said, "Come over when you're done with work." So I came over. He opened the door. He looked. He said, "Let's see." He said, "Oh, is he cute? Where'd you get him?" Blah, blah, blah. I told him the story. He says, "So 1,200, huh?" He handed me a wad of cash. He said, "Go back, see if the guy will sell you another one." So now I got to roll up in this guy's driveway with the full amount, 1,200. I was probably thinking, what the hell's with this kid? I just gave him a deal. I told him the story and that my dad wanted another one. He wanted one for himself, and we'd like to hunt with two dogs and blah, 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 blah. Would you sell me another one? I know you won't sell me one at this price, but he's willing to pay you the 1,200. He said, "Yeah, have your dad call me." So I had my dad call him. And my dad thanked him actually for what he did for me and everything. And he said, "Your son seems like a good kid." So this and that. And they ended up talking a lot after that about training. We sent the dogs for training where he sent his and everything. Yeah, we had those dogs a long time. Their names were Bo and Arrow, Beau and Aero. And they were brothers, and they were good hunting dogs. I spent many a night sleeping in a car with them in a sweat line to hunt state parks for pheasants. How I got on all that, I don't know. Let's see. So pheasant opens by Squeaky. Friends of mine are whacking and stacking ducks with geese coming in. I've never hunted for ducks or geese. I want to. I never have. I don't know how to do decoys or all that, but I wish I had someone that did know that I could go with because it sounds cool. Sounds like fun. I love anything to do with a shotgun. Uh, should be disbanded. Yeah. Thinking about getting a Glock 42. Anyone have one? No, I don't. I had a 26 that I hated. Just didn't like the feel of it. I love my 17. It's the only one I got. I like it. Looking at +2 mag extension. I had a +2 on the 26. It worked out great. No, I ran Glock 17 mags in it with an extension that covered the bottom of the mag. That worked great. 43X is legit. Yeah, that's a nice. I'd buy that gun, the 43X. Rabbit Hole Reviews sent the super chat. He said his channel is growing slowly, updates every few days. Good, man. Check out his channel, guys. Now it jumped on me. Gotta stop big finger in my text on my phone. Son. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to catch up here, but okay, here we go. Yeah, we pheasant hunt. We've got some clubs. I know a guy raises birds, and we could go out there $10 a bird. He gives you one of his dogs and takes you out. $10 a bird, hunt as many as you want, and they fly pretty good and all. Showed me how to put a pheasant to sleep last year. How you swing it, and then you tuck his head under his wing and everything, and they'll stay there. That was the last time I hunted with my son, and he was there to watch how they put him to sleep and all. It was cool, and they stay there. They'll sit in his hand with their head under their wing. Pretty neat. Thinking about getting okay. There's the Glock stuff. All right, let's find CR 920 is a good option. Yes, it is. No hunting for me anymore, but I still have my old bolt action Mossberg 20 gauge with a polychoke. Polychokes. Remember that? Those were great. Took my first pheasant with that. Bah, 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 bah. Let's see. I'm actually looking to pick up the single shot Henry in 4570 blued. Yeah, that'd be cool. Who sent that? R. Good to have you here, man. All you guys, anybody new here, glad to have you here. Sorry this one's dragging out. We're over 2 hours. We're going to finish up here quick as I can. Lever action 357 or 44 mag. That's what I've been looking at. My dad's got a Browning 44 mag lever action. Beautiful gun. And people forget that Browning made a really nice lever action. Really well finished, beautiful gun. Had that typical Browning wood with those short grain thing, if you know what I mean. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. But he shot a lot of deer with that. I saw him lead a deer once, was running broadside to him full out. And I saw him, he was like a trap shot. He swung and he was following that deer and then swung on him, shot and followed through with the rifle. And that deer went down on his chin with his legs behind him. Boom, and skidded to a stop on his chin. And that was the end of him. I think that was the first deer I ever gutted, actually. Another one, he knocked its leg off one year. Crappy shot. And the 44 mag took its leg off at the elbow. And don't you know, we get there next year and that deer's hobbling around. Well, not hobbling. He was running just fine on 3 legs. But and then I don't remember if my dad took him or out of respect let him go the next year because he had a shot at him. That was in Missouri. We used to hunt in Missouri all the time. 357 lever action is an awesome, awesome rifle. You get some serious velocity out of it. A lot of guys use those for cowboy action because they run 38s through them. Very low recoil, and you can shoot them fast. That's a fun gun. Man, that's the problem with lever actions. You want one in 30-30. You got to have a 22. You got to have a 45 Colt. You got to have 4570. You got to have a 357, and 44 mag would be cool. So where does it stop, you know? And then how about a 350 Legend? That'd be pretty cool, huh? I mean, I think somebody makes one in a 350 Legend. I think a Beowulf would be cool. 50 Beowulf out of a lever action. I wonder if somebody makes it. I prefer a loading gate versus the tube. I do too. I don't mind it on the Henry having the tube, but now Henry came out with the side loading gates too. But yeah, I miss it. It's easier to load. It's faster if you just want to put one round in. Let's say you're hunting and you need a quick round or something. Yeah, easier. Yeah, I agree. But that's why Henry came out with it. Tori Hanzo's here. Home from work and in and out. What did I miss? Started out talking about bluing and walnut. And it's that season, man. It's deer season, you know. So you got to get out the nostalgia. The deer hunting is all about nostalgia. That's what it's all about. Doing the same thing, the same ways with the same people. Unfortunately, I don't have anybody left to hunt with. Literally, my dad don't hunt anymore. My son, obviously. Last year I hunted by myself. Last year I did it on purpose by myself like that. Not that I really had a choice, but I just wanted to spend time by myself and sort of with my son in my head and just reflect on it. So that's what I did. And it was cool, but it wasn't cool at the same time. And I don't know. This year I'm got nobody to hunt with either, but I'm still going to go. And I don't know, maybe somebody will join me. Who knows? Maybe Jake will go deer hunting with me. I don't know. Not really old gun, but I plan on killing at least one deer with my dad's old Ruger M70s. Those M77 Rugers were nice guns. 7 millimeter Remington Mag. Nice. Nice. Yeah, don't you? You miss them. You miss telling the same old stories you told, and having a few drinks the night before, whatever. There's one story I never forget about deer season with my dad one year. And part of that story just came to me, and now it slipped away that quick. But I'll tell you the gist of it. We came up one night, and we were living in Chicago back then, but we had a place up north, and we were going up for deer season, and we drove up there, and we went to the tavern the night before, and we were drinking pretty good, having a good time. And we came back from hunting or from drinking, and it was like, I don't know, 1 a.m. or something, and it was just starting to snow. And I told my dad, oh, it's going to be perfect in the morning. There'll be a little bit of snow to see tracks, see some movement, this and that's going to be great. So hung the clothes outside and stuff, and went to bed. And I got up in the morning, and I'm in the kitchen making coffee, and the kitchen window looks out at the front lawn. And I look, and holy moly, there wasn't a little bit of snow. There was a lot of snow. And now it was like freezing rain, drizzle, snow. So we get up, get ready, have some coffee. We go out, and everywhere you go is crunch, crunch, crunch. You're breaking through that top layer. So everything within 100 miles, here's you coming. Get in a tree stand that's covered. Up in Wisconsin, we can hunt from tree stands with rifles. Get up in the tree stand, and the whole tree stand's covered in glaze ice, right? And I'm trying to bang on it to break it off, because otherwise I'm sliding right off. I'll kill myself. Get up in the tree. I'm sitting there. My dad's sitting in the mouth of an old bear den. It was a kind of a hill mound, and where the bear den had been, he's sitting kind of down in the opening where he can look right over the top of it, like a foxhole almost. He's overlooking this big swamp. I'm about 100 yards away up in the tree, and the rain sleet continues, and it's freezing on you, on your head, on your jacket. Every time you move, if you move to wipe your nose, crunch, 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 crack, and all the ice falls off, hits the ground, making all kinds of noise. It's horrible. We're not going to see a damn thing, and there ain't nothing moving anyways. So I'm up there about frozen to death, and I hear it. Here it comes. Crunch, 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 crunch. It's an animal. It's not a human, but it's coming. And it's coming right under me from behind. I can't turn around because it'll see me. It's wide open woods. And he's coming from downhill up to me, so he'll see me. So I'm sitting still waiting for him to come underneath me. I figure he's going to come underneath. I'm going to raise the gun, and boom, and done. I'm back in the house, nice and toasty warm, right? Crunch, 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 crunch. He gets underneath me. The crunching stops. He's right underneath me. I'm looking down. I can't see him. He's behind the tree, like, or to the side. Like, damn. I'm in a group of birches that came out like this. 3 of them. I had the stand built between them with a bench and everything. It was comfortable, but not that. So, and all of a sudden, I hear water running. I look, I turn back. It's a red fox, and he's pissing on my tree. I thought, you son of I was going to shoot the red fox. I figured, what the hell? What's the difference? Everything else in this woods hurt me. But he was beautiful. He was a big, bushy coat already and everything. It was gorgeous. Peed on my tree and left. I figured, well, at least it'll cover my scent, maybe, you know. But yeah, that's all we saw that year. I came in. My dad walked up. He said, screw this shit. We walked back to the house and then went into town and proceeded to drink a bottle and a half of bourbon between the two of us. We had the dog in the car. We brought him out some Slim Jims and water halfway through. That was his lunch. We finished up and we went home and slept. That's about it for deer season that I remember, but it was a good one. Pretty fun. Anyhow, let's see.
Sorry, guys, looking for some more comments. Um, I love natural age on a firearm, but don't really go out of my way to find worn out guns. It's just a case by case thing. Yeah, sometimes you find a gun just speaks to you, right? It's got the right look, everything. My dad was 86 when he passed. He was such a fighter. It was a shock when he was gone. Yeah, when you know it's coming, it's kind of depending what's going on. Sometimes it can be really hard on you. You can get mad at them, but you can't be mad at them. Then you feel bad about it, and you want to spend as much time as you can with them. You try to remember the old good times, but they're not the same person anymore. And yeah, it's just hard, man, because you know how good and how much fun it all was, and it's just not that way anymore. But they're still them. So you got to give them the respect, and you got to have a lot of patience, and sometimes you got to take a deep breath and just know that it's all good. But it's hard growing old for people, especially dads. I think it's hard for you as a son. Um, maybe feel your own mortality a little bit by that time, but there's still so many good times. You got to remember that everything they taught you, everything they did for you, it's still there. I lost it on my dad this weekend a little bit. He's got a bit of dementia going on, and it's hard on mom. And he was being hard on her, and it made me get upset with him. But then you feel bad, and it's a terrible thing. Yeah, you're right, Joe. I just read one word: funeral industry. Yeah, snakes. You're absolutely right. They got the market cornered. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I think back to stuff that went on with my son when this happened and all, and I think, God, that was you had your wits about you and everything. I just there's a couple little things. They may seem little to some, but to me, it was a big deal, and I still feel like, man, should let him know. CMP current rec grade price $650. Guys, M1 grand $650 from the CMP. Expert grade $1,100. What are you waiting for? Go get one. Trust me, you will thank me. You will 5 years from now, you'll go, there used to be this guy, Rock, at Rockford Ordnance, and he told me to go buy one. And now look. And you'll be so much fun to shoot. Oh my God. They shoot magnificently. Go get one. I have a pristine CMP Grand. I'll do a long form video. You've seen mine, Rabbit. Mine's mint. And it's a wartime gun with an original barrel and everything. Really nice. Great video. DJ Pioneer is not your best choice. There are Pioneer. Who's buying a Pioneer? No, stop. Do not buy a Pioneer. Hey, Rock, wanted to see what you think of Pioneer 5.56 underfolder. Don't buy anything from Pioneer. Nothing. Where do I start? So they had shit guns. I think they're out of Poland. I think it was them there's a long thing around Radom, right? And I think they're one of the companies that's got a Radom address, and they use that like they're the original Radom company, but they're not. And it may be the other one I'm thinking. There's one they have decent stuff, but people weren't too happy with how they were playing off of the Radom thing, but I thought Pioneer was too. Either way, the Pioneer stuff, that'd be the last choice. Don't do it. I'm not going to tell you. Somebody will jump in here and say, oh, you're making fun of my stuff or saying it's junk. No, I'm just saying there's a lot better choices. And I personally haven't fired one. But there's just better out there, and why risk it when it's a lot of money anyway you look at it. Before you do that, go buy the Wasser underfolders are in.
That's another thing. There's Wasser underfolders all over the place. I'm going to get one for sure. For sure. Um, I want a Wasser, a new one. I wanted to replace my original back when they were all sloppy and shitty. I was going to get a new Wasser, period. But now that the underfolders are out, I'll keep the one I got. I'll get the underfolder. I'll have an example of the new one, and an example of the Century guns, and it'll be cool because I love underfolders, and their underfolders got the slant and everything. Nice gun. Can't beat a Wasser for the money. I'm gonna go get one. They're all over Gunbroker. I'm sure your local dealers have them. Big load came in. They're not. I seen them buy it now, 700, something like that, 799, maybe some cheaper a little bit, somewhere between $700 and $800. That's a good deal. Go get yourself one of those. If you want a 5.56 gun, get a any other Polish gun, maybe or get a Sam 5. What else? Trying to think what else I'd recommend. Hell, go get an M90 Zastava. Yeah, don't do the Pioneer. Just my opinion, but trust me, I have your best interest at heart. You'll be a lot happier you go with something else. I think they're a little bit cheaper, but they're not that much cheaper, and there's a reason they're cheaper. So just don't do it. Uh, ba, 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 ba. Ducks and geese are a lot of fun. I can handle the marsh. Can't handle the marsh anymore. Well, I see these guys on these boats, and they bring their coffee, or they got a stand out there, a platform built in the Horicon Marsh, and or I like the idea of hunting out of these cornfield ground blinds for geese, where they look like sleeping bags or something. These boxes, the geese come over and they sit up, and boom, 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 boom. That looks like fun. Um, Plenty of cornfields. Once I get a little south of here, uh, it would be awesome. Anybody want to go geese hunting? Take me with. Let me know. See you all on the next live stream. See you, Rabbit. Definitely see you. Tell them, Rock. You are correct. No to Pioneer. Yeah, listen to Rock Wasser. Yeah, go get the Wasser underfolder. You want underfolder, or better, even better yet, in my opinion, find yourself Century built them. They didn't build them; they had someone else build them. But there was an original batch 15 years ago. Now there's another one about a year and a half ago of the M70 AB2 underfolders, uh, built on Zastava kits, put together here by very reputable subcontractors for Century. And they are great guns. Back in the day, I used to buy them from a used one from 300 to new ones. The most I would pay, I had a rule of 500. Well, now those guns are $1,000. You can find them 700-800 once in a while. M70 AB2. They're built off military kits with some new parts, new receivers and all. But you get the grenade launcher sight, obviously underfolder, slant brake, bayonet lug, a bulge trunnion receiver, the bolt carriers in the white, the heavy top cover, heavy barrel, great gun. People used to laugh at them in the day. Now I laugh because of what they're going for and how well touted they are. Everybody always told me, you got that, you get a Russian gun, get a this gun, get a that gun. What do you want an underfolder for? And now, everybody wants one. But they came about a year and a half ago. Century had a whole bunch of them. There's probably, I know I saw some the other day on a certain auction site online. So check it out. Those would be even a great choice. I told you guys, I guarantee you, Zastava is going to come out with a ZPAP underfolder. Mark my words. I'll say by next shot, they'll have one coming out. I'll bet you. Maybe a hair longer because of supply chain, But I said a long time ago, I'm betting it would be out within let's say a year from now at the most. You'll have CPAP underfolders. I won't say I have it on good authority. I don't. But I just got a sneaking suspicion. And check out all my other sneaking suspicions. They're all right. The banning of some imports, the banning of Russian ammo. I called that one 6 months before it happened. Yeah. So check it out. Get out deer hunting, guys. Check out some Henrys. Pull the old stuff out of the back. This all started because I pulled an M44 Mosin Nagant out of the back. We'll get you a video out. Maybe I'll throw a quick one up with the fireball shots, talk a little about it, and then we'll have a bigger range day. Maybe I'll put it together after this. We'll see what I get out. But it's supposed to rain all day tomorrow, but maybe I'll take a Vepper out in the rain tomorrow. Who's got the sack to do that one? Go soak a $6,000 gun in the rain, huh? Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Maybe I'll soak 2 of them in the rain tomorrow. Who knows? We'll see. It can be cold too. So should be a fun day. It's a perfect day for Mosins at the range though, ain't it? Hell, what would you give if I got down prone in the mud with a Mosin, huh? Jake could say, yeah. Atlantic Firearms has Wasser underfolder for $1,099. That's a lot of money. I saw buy it now is between about $700 and $800. Granted, you got to ship it and pay FFL fee and all when you pick it up. But hell, like everything else, thousands a deal today, right? But if you could get one for $800, why not? Good stuff. All right, guys. Thanks. I appreciate you stopping. Thanks for the super chat. Thanks for the likes. I appreciate it. I'm sorry about our little screw up with the camera and mic on the first stream tonight. Sorry if it was a pain in the neck, but I'm glad you stuck with me and came in. Once in a while, we run into those problems. I'm a one-man show, so you never know what's going to happen, but it's always fun. It's always exciting. Hopefully you glean a little information. I didn't give you all that much tonight, just gave you something to think about, I think. But for those of you that own Henry 22 Golden Boys, please don't polish your receivers because those are covers on there that are clear coated. You will destroy the look of your rifle. Polish them with the cloth that Henry recommends, which is like a chamois kind of cloth, or at best, or at worst, a microfiber, a brand new one. Even those can leave some minor stuff in it. So get the Henry one. Order it on their website for a couple dollars, and you'll be happy you did. The regular big boy Henrys, you can polish with metal polish. Enjoy. Have fun. Pull something out. Shoot a lever action. They're fun. Let us know if you guys are seeing any 30-30 around. If you do and you need it for hunting season, you better grab it. First stuff I saw in 2 years was about a month ago, and thank God I grabbed 2 boxes. I bet they don't have any now. I could have bought up 6 of them, and I didn't. Left them for others. I figured 2 is enough. Let somebody else go hunting. Probably the next guy behind me glommed it all like a jackass, right? But who knows? At least I tried. Whatever. Anyhow, thanks for showing up. Thanks for hanging with us. Let me know when we check out of here and you can't comment anymore. You can go down in the comments. It might take a minute till it pops up and you can go in the comments once it's a video. And let us know what you want to see, guys. Put a comment on any video of something you want to see, and I'll do my best to get it to you, whether it's an accessory, a gun, or whatever. Also, one other thought I had on milsurps and collecting, since that's been kind of a thing we talked about the last couple of weeks. There were those Spanish Sepmies that Marcolmar came out with. I didn't know much about them when they came out, but they were cool. They had a collapsible stock and worked on a roller delay action like a HK. And matter of fact, the HK, those engineers became HK engineers. Really cool gun, and one of the last semi-automatic milsurps available. Let's face it, after that kind of time period, almost all countries have what? Select fire weapons, which can never become milsurps, right? They might become parts kits, and they could be built into some semi-auto guns, but it's not a true 100% milsurp as it was from the factory. There's just no countries really fielding semi-automatic weapons or bolt-action weapons anymore. Everything's select fire, so yeah, the golden age of milsurps is gone. Unless something was to change, and it might. We have so many big wins, guys, on the Second Amendment front. This Bruin case has opened up a whole new world, and the NFA just might fall. Matter of fact, I'll say it will fall. The only problem is they will drop charges before they allow it to go to the Supreme Court, just because they know the Supreme Court would rule against them and the NFA would fall. So they will do their best to make sure that a case involving the NFA never reaches the Supreme Court. You follow me? They'll drop charges, make a plea deal, whatever. But if somebody had the balls, which there may be that guy right now sitting in the wings that has a case right now, if they don't drop that case and it goes that far, they're going to win and the NFA will fall. And that opens up everything. That means you can buy machine guns over the counter and suppressors and everything. Everything is available then. And there may be state law against it, depending, but that could even go away depending what the Supreme Court does. If they preempt state law with it in the decision somehow, I believe that's what they call it, preempt. Yeah, it could be wide open. And, that originally came into being because of gangsters at the time, sawing off shotguns and the Tommy gun and all that stuff. And they did some damage with them, But legally, Second Amendment wise, it shouldn't exist. And they know that. Would it cause some great catastrophe to happen on the streets of America? Nah, I don't think so. There are, I'm not going to give you the exact numbers, but let's just say there's a monstrously huge amount more guns on the street than there was 30 years ago. And crimes have just with rifles, et cetera, have just dropped and dropped and dropped. So although there's 10 times by the millions more weapons, the crimes committed with them has just dropped. Since I was a kid, over 30 years, they've went down drastically. So all of a sudden there's, select fire weapons, fully automatic weapons on the street. Is it going to make a huge difference? No. You know why? Because any criminal that wants one has one already. Look at all those switches that came in, those Glock switches. Those things are everywhere. They'll tell you that they were catching them coming in and getting the addresses where they were delivered and picking them up and all of that. That's bullshit. There's thousands of those switches out there, I guarantee you. And I get reports from friends that are in either Chicago or Milwaukee that they hear full automatic fire all the time down in the city. So it's happening. It's not changing anything. They'll hit the news with a few big stories maybe and try to, tell us how evil we are. But at the end of the day, it gives everyone what they should have had all along, the right to own what our military has or better. Civilians have always had better weaponry than most militaries. Going way back, check out T-Rex channel. T-Rex did a entire video on the history of how, all these senators with it's a weapon of war, it's a weapon of war, weapon of war, and how somehow we shouldn't have those weapons, that we should have lesser weapons, right? They all agree that what they want us to have are antiquated, hard to fire, hard to load, hard to maneuver. And that's exactly why they want us to have them. But T-Rex on his channel tells a whole story, all the way from the first muskets all the way through. So the better weapons have always, always, always been in civilian hands before they were in military hands. Matter of fact, civilians were fighting with lever actions while our U.S. troops were still fighting with smoothbore, cap and ball, black powder guns. Think about that. And on and on. The most popular sporting rifle in history, the AR-15, was a civilian rifle long before it was a military weapon. It's just been the case. So they can't make that argument that the military's always had better arms. They have not. It's quite frankly the opposite. And it's not until recent history where our citizens have not had that, or that has not been true because of the NFA. It won't pass the Bruin test. It won't pass anything. If it gets to the Supreme Court, it falls. Period. Period. It will. Look at everything that's going on. Everything's falling because of it. Mag bans, assault weapon bans. They know they're screwed. That decision by Judge Clarence Thomas opened the floodgates. It's over with. Yeah, they can make these laws and they'll go into effect and they'll try to enforce them until the lawsuits come the other way, and they'll drag their feet, but they'll eventually go to court and they get thrown out. My opinion is when they get sick of seeing all these bogus court cases of them trying to slow it down, stop it, a right delayed kind of thing. Maybe they get sick of it after so many are just thrown out as frivolous, that somehow they do something, pass something that stops them from doing that. Just says, hey, what don't you get? Here's the ruling. Bruin says it all. None of this is constitutional. It all goes. And then it's, you own whatever you want to own. They may go at it in other ways. They may try to tax it or ammunition or whatever, but they can't do that either because you can't tax a right. So, there's always a workaround somewhere, somehow, and we'll still keep having to fight the battles. But it's a lot clearer now. And there is no end game, I don't think, for them. They can't win the end game. Your rifles aren't going away. Your guns aren't going away. Besides, what is it, 400, 600, 800 million rifles in America? Yeah. 87,000 IRS agents couldn't carry them all. That's hilarious, isn't it? Anyhow, we got a few days till these midterms. Hopefully they go our way. God, please, they better go our way. If they don't, there's definitely something rotten in Denmark, right? I would think. Anyhow, hey, say a good word to the man upstairs. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your family. Love your family. And hey, do I sound like another channel? Love your family, love guns? I don't know. No. Have a good night, guys. Thank you. Love you all. And I appreciate you stopping in. And as always, Rockford Ordnance out. Have a great night. Jen, Joe, again, I'm sorry. From all of us here, from the whole Rockford Ordnance family, everyone that's here every week, all of us, I'm sure everyone here is with me when I say condolences to you, your family, and God bless your dad and your family. Have some good memories tonight, some good dreams, and it'll be better tomorrow. That's all I can tell you. All right. Thanks again, guys. Good night.